Welcome everyone. You are watching a Uranus going into Gemini, and this is going to happen. Here's a timeline, but this is going to happen in April, and I find it super interesting that the number 7 keeps getting brought up with all of this. So let me position myself properly. Okay, cool. So we have July 7th, 2025. This is last year. Uranus first entered Gemini then for a few months, and then it exited on November the 7th. It retrograded back into Taurus, obviously, the previous sign. And then on the 25th of April, coming up soon, we have Uranus entering Gemini for good up until 2033. So this is going to be like, last year was like a trailer of like what Uranus will be like in Gemini, but then went retrograde, and so now the movie really starts. Now it's my time. And okay, when we're dealing with Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune, if you've read any evolutionary astrologers and whatnot, you know that these planets have a different meaning. It's not your personal planets like your Saturn, your Mars, your Venus, your Moon, your Sun, and your Mercury. It's not the personal ones. These are more bigger generational ones. So yes, they will have an impact on us in our like rising signs and our, our houses, especially because the rising sign dictates the house that it's moving in or out of. So we're obviously going to have like a very big impact like collectively with this, and this is what you want to think of with the big 3 planets. You want to think, okay, cool, if this is the collective, then you look at it on a grand scale. It does impact you in your personal life, don't get me wrong. It's not to say that only the personal planets have a influx or influence on your life. No, these bigger 3 do, but they more so deal with the bigger aspect of your life, your picture, not the small things. Like your Mercury retrograde really pisses people off because it's the small things. Like they'll forget where they leave something, or they forget to tell someone something, and now they've just like made like an hour's journey for nothing because that Mercury that communication wasn't there. But this is the big thing. Uranus is the big stuff. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to break down a little bit of Uranus in Gemini and what it's been doing in Taurus and whatnot, and then we're going to get into the houses, which you guys can skip to if you want to see how it's going to influence or impact your own self. So Uranus is okay. So what is Uranus? Okay, Uranus is disruption, awakening, rebellion, innovation, shocks, finding out crazy things or crazy things happening, just like poof, just like crazy stuff happening. That's what Uranus represents. That's its archetype, and it rules Aquarius, but Aquarius is classically ruled by Saturn. Makes sense. It's like almost 2 sides of Saturn, the death and the whole like evil stuff, and then you have the wisdom. And so I can kind of see why Capricorn and Aquarius both ruled by Saturn classically, but modernly, the more you look at the research documents in the 1900s, in the 20th century, you see exactly why Uranus now rules Aquarius, at least nowadays. And Uranus basically demands change, and Taurus is a fixed earth sign. It's a Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, and Scorpio. They're fixed signs. They're not really the best with change. Obviously, we are all 12 signs. We're not just one, but I'm saying generally, those signs and the people that have heavy influx or like a stellium in those signs, not really the best with change, but they can be. We can all learn how to adapt and be mutable, which is what Gemini is. Gemini is a mutable sign. It's a mutable air sign. It rules the masculine side of your brain. And it is very logical, it's very thinking. It's like, it goes after reason. It's good with music, technology. You find a lot of musicians and people that are into music that are Geminis. A lot of people into social media. My 10th house is Gemini, so social media, here I am. And Taurus is about stability and not a fan of change as Uranus is. Uranus is like, right, this is what's going on. Yeah, okay, well, I'm about to change this up and does some crazy stuff to your life. That's what Uranus does. So wherever it is at the moment, that's what is coming to an end to, and you're going to experience something new. Okay, so Uranus and Gemini is going to change how we think. It's going to change our masculine side of our brain, and when I say masculine, I mean logic and reason, and the feminine side is more about being even smarter and different ways. I won't get into that, but plenty of ideas and revolutions are going to come to people. So Gemini is like the thinking mind, the mind that's always active, and it rules the nervous system. So I do fear like some people are going to suffer a lot of nervous system breakdowns and nervous system problems. And that applies for every single person. It does not matter. Especially if you're Gemini Rising, actually, if it's your first house. But anyways, I think a lot of people will experience a lot of nervous system issues, especially with all these planets and things in Aries, the sign of war. I think if war does break out, it will cost people's nervous system a lot. Yeah. and ideas and revolutions will flow for people. And like I said, this is for everyone. I'm going to get into the specifics, but for everyone here, this applies to. So the new ways of communication. Some people are going to be bored of speaking just English. They might start learning Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, who knows? There's definitely a good time to start learning a language in general. This is for everyone. And new AIs and different types of social media. Okay, so one thing we have to bear in mind is that Uranus is actually the ruler of Aquarius. So anything Aquarius themed, for example, your AI, your technology, your revolution, your social gatherings, and mainly like the revolution archetype is gonna really like get a bit more, because it's an air sign, right? And Aquarius isn't air. Aquarius is fixed air, right? And Gemini is mutable air, so it likes to change, it likes to move, a bit more adaptable. It can go over here, go over there, whereas your fixed signs aren't. But now with Uranus in there, it's gonna like that. It's gonna like being in Gemini a lot more, and we're gonna feel it a lot more than when it was in Taurus, okay? So I can see social media changing with AI. Basically, they just want to make internet and AI. Before, you used to go on the internet, you used to talk to other people. Now it's like a lot of our conversations are slowly like turning into just like talking to AI. Soon the whole internet will be an AI. And I think this is what's going to push it even more, sadly, because the golden era of the internet is coming to an end. It is. It is. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it is. Wake the fuck up and actually look at things, okay? Don't get pissed at me in the comments. Don't get pissed at me saying shit, okay? The golden era of the internet, of using the internet and not being used by it, is coming to an end. But to be honest, people have always had phone addictions. People go off their phone for a long time, come back on their phone, and they find they're still addicted, because it's not about you and the phone. It's about you and your relationships. And social media with Uranus in there, I don't even want to talk too much about that to scare people, but I think we're going to see like better ways as well of using the internet, more strict ways that people are going to apply on themselves. I can see people's nervous systems getting affected so much by social media, and social media in and of itself is going to change. We might have more social and society-based like media, less photos, less videos, just like a chat, just like a app for like a group chat. And people have been starting this actually ever since last year, you know, apps that don't need internet for change. I think Twitter founder must have made one, BitChat or something. I don't know. I think it just relies on Bluetooth. I'm not too sure. But I definitely see a change. And also AI. I think AI is going to develop a lot quicker now. And I think AI is going to be more so developed for social media. And we're going to see a change in social media and AI. Both of them are going to meet somewhere, and something's going to change in between both of them or combine. Okay, so like I said, so we have changes in how we think. Ideas and revolutions will come to us. This is when we get the most mental like downloads of like the basic but very deep and meaningful things. And then we have Uranus in Taurus. Okay, so this is good to mention, right? So Uranus in Taurus is basically what we have at the moment up until like a few weeks when it goes into Gemini. And that changes like what you have like materially, physically, because Taurus is an earth sign. It's a fixed earth. So it changes like your materiality, a little bit of your land. Your land is more so ruled by your fourth house in Cancer, but also it's fixed earth. It is to do with the land. Now that might not be the land that you own directly. That's more so your fourth and your eighth house. Your eighth house is like inheritance. Your Scorpio, because when someone dies, you obviously get the money back. So cool. But this is to do with our actual land. So you see people in the past couple of years that have been actually giving a fuck about not littering, about being a nice human being, right? About, oh, you know what? Maybe I'm not going to throw this piece of fucking plastic on the floor because I'm not a dickhead, okay? That is exactly the revolution that people have been having with the connection to the land. Oh, let me plant some more trees. Let me do this. And that's good because it changes what you physically have, like maybe your clothes, your furniture, your items, that incense I'm burning. I've changed the way I treat myself and the things that I have around myself materially. That is coming to an end, okay? But Uranus in Taurus has done exactly that. It also changes your relationship to your body. Since it's fixed earth, it actually represents the physical body. So you people that have been going through a revolution in the past 5, 7, 10 years, whatever it is, with your body, with your own personal, maybe the way you look, maybe the way you eat, maybe the way you think about yourself, especially if it is in your first house at the moment, or it has been. If Taurus is your first house, if you're a Taurus rising, then yeah, this is going to be a very good time because you complete it, right? And as it gets on the 29th degree, it's going to intensify things. A 29th degree is called the anoretic degree. It makes everything like a little bit like intense, I want to say, but it's like a recapitulation. It's like a conclusion, like an intense conclusion of the whole sign. So you guys might be feeling it right now, but it's going to come to an end. Whatever revolution, whatever changes you've made to your physical body, your health and your vitality, good. You've done it at a very good time. And if you haven't, it's never late to start. Our body and land. Oh yes, and in Gemini, it will change how we think and communicate. As I said, basically our thinking and our communication to other people, that's going to change. That's ain't no joke. And the way people are going to communicate, people might be more raw, more honest, and speak from a more revolutionary standpoint. Honestly, I think we're about to enter a pretty interesting era in the internet and in person, in general, but especially in the internet because it's Gemini. And yeah, I think people are just gonna just let it fly. Because you see how before they never used to put Zionism online. People couldn't promote Zionism, and now it's promoted through all these memes and all this truth stuff and da da da. These people that are running the social media, they used to ban them. Now they're not banning them because they're testing us. It's like the floodgates, and so I think those floodgates are really going to open when Uranus enters Gemini, and this is what they're preparing for, is people being bombarded with such information. Oh, so many people got killed in this country, and the US bombed all these schoolgirls in Iran, and da 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 da. They're doing that because, hey, we got to be fucking honest here. Yeah. You got to be fucking honest. It's one thing being aware of the world and what's happening. It's another being constantly bombarded by shit like that. Yes, it's evil. Yes, we should know about it. And yes, we should fight against it. But how many times are you going to take that information, right, as if you're built to take it? Your nervous system is not built to take it. This is why some people are living in depressive states and manic states. And they're so down and their energy is so low. It's because you're not supposed to be receiving all of that information every single day. It's all right to receive it. It's all right to ponder it and deal with it. But some people, let's be honest, can't deal with that. You're going through mental health. You're going through something. You can't deal with that. And Uranus is going to break some of you guys' communication. It's going to really make you guys think like, okay, should I be talking to this person? Should I be receiving this information? Is this the kind of person that I want to be around when, just mainly communication, what you're hearing. So be very careful because your nervous system is at stake here with Uranus and Gemini. It ain't no, so shits and giggles till someone giggles and shits. And Uranus is going to giggle and shit wherever it is. So when that shit lands, your nervous system, your communication, and whatever, be ready to change that. Be ready to change the people around you if they're not communicating. Be ready to change how you accept information from social media. Okay, cool. I think I've done enough on what this is and everything. So the rest of the video is going to be for the rising signs and whatnot. So if you're interested, stick around. I'm going to go through all of the houses individually and talk a bit more about what's then like just here, even though this is quite a lot already. Let's begin. Let's begin because we have to. Now, if you are a Aries rising, okay, if Aries is your first house, essentially, right? Because let's just get this cleared, right? Whenever someone says your rising sign, that's your AC, opposite your DC, AC, DC. And your AC, your rising sign, that's your first house. So if Aries is your rising or your first house, Uranus is going to be entering your third house, and Gemini is and rules the third house. That's a lot of Gemini energy in there anyways, okay? So this is going to basically provoke a mental awakening, mental revolution. You're going to have you're going to have the opportunity. Life is going to give you the opportunity to think differently, to look at things differently mentally, okay? The way you think about things, they're going to be changed, okay? Sorry, I'm just a messenger. And there's a change in communication and also a change in siblings and locality. Okay, now, Gemini, short distance travel, opposite Sagittarius, long distance travel. We're going to get to Sagittarius in a minute, right there. But that's different. Short distance travel, like in your area, in your locality, visiting like people around you and things like that, that's ruled by Gemini. And Gemini rules the third house. So if you want to look at whatever house, if I'm a Taurus rising, what does my 8th house mean? Look to the 8th sign, like Scorpio, and you will see. So over here, we can see that the third house rules siblings and everything. Uranus being in there, you might have a very revolutionary time with your siblings, or you might have a revolutionary time away from your siblings. I'm not involved. I'm just a messenger. Don't come after me because I'll come after you, and so on and so forth. But pretty much the third house is to do with your short distance travel. Look for ways in which Uranus or life or universe will send you things based on that. So if you are someone who I don't know, has an injury in their foot, and now you think, oh, maybe I should get something to help me, you know, roll about, get a little scooter, get something. Your short distance travel matters a lot, and this is what the third house is about. And also siblings, whether things go good or bad with siblings, Uranus is going to promote a revolution for your higher self. Okay. And family is like that. You're not really, you don't choose family. Okay. Family, you're just given. It's something in life you're just given. So mainly over here, if you're an Aries rising, I would look for different ways of thinking, different ways of being, different ways of seeing things mentally from other people's perspective. Be open to what your siblings are like saying and doing in their life. And if you feel like it's not going the right way with them, then yeah, I can see a lot of relationships with siblings ending and really going bad for your Aries risings. But I can also see a lot of them going well, and both of you like getting that same mental awakening and change, because like I said, this is the third house is a Gemini. It's already going into Gemini. It's like the Aries rising are getting double like the mental reevaluation. Okay, so then we have Taurus rising. So if your first house is Taurus, like I said, innovation of income or money, unconventional income, change in values, and connection to the body. Okay, let's go through these. So innovation of income or money and unconventional incomes. Okay, so when Uranus transits a house, especially the second house, okay, it's going to bring about changes, number one, like we said. But with Taurus and well, with your second house is ruled by Taurus and that Taurus energy. This is banking your income, right? I think a lot of people are going to suffer, or not suffer, but go through changes in their banking, in their income. You might earn a lot more money. You might earn a lot less money. You might get fired. You might get promoted. You might become like a superstar and get a lot of money. The point is like money is going to come in and money is going to come out, both. Okay. And this, as I said, is lasting up until 2033. So if you lose some money, don't worry. Uranus is still in there. It's going to make another aspect to another planet at some point, and you're going to have your opportunity if you use it. So I definitely see some unconventional income for people, because Uranus is the unconventional type. You might start making money selling medicinal mushrooms. You might start making money with this thing that you invest in, this company you invest, whatever. The whole point is that it will bring you unconventional income in ways you definitely didn't expect, or getting a job that you didn't expect. So you also have a change in values. You see, Taurus is like what we value. It's our confidence. It's our stability. So we put honor in, okay? It's like Mother Earth. So a lot of people that are Taurus rising, you're going to change in values. A lot of you might start thinking, oh, actually, I don't want to eat animals. I want to be vegan. Oh, actually, I don't want to be vegan. I want to go back to eating animal-based. There's a lot of things like that. Your values and who you... or what it is, like a dogma, for example, or religion or whatever, what it is that you actually value and that you put your energy towards, that is definitely going to change. And also your connection to your body. Last but definitely not least, you see, when I was in Taurus, I just mentioned it at the start, the connection to your body, your physical body, is definitely going to change. I think that's a big one that's going to change if you are a Taurus rising. Apart from the money and the body, I think those two are the most like significant. So you might feel like, actually, I'm not happy with my body. Actually, I don't want to wake up and feel like this, or, you know, think about like this in my body. I'm going to change it. I'm going to start going gym, or I'm going to start eating different. Something is going to happen. And obviously that coincides with the change in values. Okay. So Gemini rising, first house. Okay. This is a bit serious now, because it's your first house. This is your AC. Okay. This is the rising sign. And this was basically the house that was on directly east when you were born. Okay, because that's what the AC and DC is. So this is a big identity revolution, both in appearance or character, and you will feel like you are changing the most up until 2033. Okay, so our first house deals with our persona, our identity, how we physically look. I remember last year, early 2025, there must have been a eclipse in Virgo. Lo and behold, my identity, my looks, I just got like some piercings and I changed up my hair a little bit. Some small little things to notice, but it's true. Whenever something happens in your first house, it's more so your physical identity and your persona. Your sun is like what shines out, what's like very obvious if people get to know you on a surface level. But once you start spitting like who you actually are, you're like, yeah, this is who I am, this is what I do. Then that's your rising sign coming out. Now for Uranus to be in there, you might change what it is that you're about in life. You might be going down one path and you realize, actually, that's going to lead me over there. And I don't want that shit. I'm going to change. And that's exactly what Uranus does. It might change your identity like I said, how you physically look, but how you come across. Someone might meet you now as Uranus is entering Gemini, your first house. And then they'll be like, oh, okay, cool. And then they meet you in a few years, yeah, even before 2033, like, this motherfucker different. It ain't even the same person that I know. Like, what's going on here? What happened to this person? You know what I'm saying? They had Gemini and like, they had Uranus in like the 9th house or something. It's not that deep for them. But you had it in your first house. That's a bit more serious. This is a bit more serious, okay? So be open to the changes. Uranus doesn't do anything for no reason. None of these planets move, or planes of consciousness move about for no reason, okay? You have a very unique time to basically reinvent yourself. Not, I don't want to say reinvent yourself like, you know, like, oh, the whole thing's done, let's just scrap it all up, let's change it all up. No, I'm saying like certain things might change, and also the bigger picture might change as well. So how you feel or how you are presented to the bigger society and community and world in general, that's definitely going to change. And you will feel like you are changing the most up until 2033, as I said. So this is a period, right, that Uranus is going to be in your first house for. It's going to go through a series of like conjunctions and aspects and stuff that will affect you specifically as you keep up with my astrology and the astrology in general. But as it's in there, you got to give yourself time, okay? Uranus, Pluto and Neptune take their time, okay? These aren't planets that just like, oh, I'm in a different sign. Oh, no, they take their time, and they will, and it's like a slow pressure cooker, right? Okay, so if it's in your first house, be open to changes in your appearance, in who you are, what you do, how you do it, and maybe your goals in life change, okay? And that's fine. So then we have Cancer Rising, the 12th house. Now this can be a little bit serious and a little bit interesting. So this implies a subconscious awakening, a lot of what people call downloads. Your ending patterns here, pretty much like mental, subconscious, and unconscious, more so than the conscious Gemini side, and the whole like thing that is bringing anyways is to the conscious mind, to the logical mind. But this here is very different. So if you are a Cancer Rising, I know a few of you. Yeah, so look out for your subconscious. This is an amazing time as a Cancer Rising to reprogram your thoughts. You know, when you wake up and you keep thinking a certain thing that's haunting you. You know, when you go to sleep and you keep thinking that same thing that's haunting you. You know, when you talk to someone and you get reminded of that same thing that's haunting you, change that. Okay, change that. Se acabó la fiesta. Todo el mundo pa su casa. Okay, everybody go home. I don't know what happened here. Everybody go home. Okay, it's a good time to clean out the subconscious. You have things and stuff that are programming you inside of you that aren't doing you justice. Off with this bomba club, man. Go. That's it. And you're gonna get downloads. Universe is going to be with you. Okay, Uranus is going to send you like things that you're going to like, oh, okay. So pay attention to that. Pay so much attention to that. You're going to get messages and things like, it's unbelievable. Okay, cool. Ending patterns, mainly mental and deep spiritual revolution within. So the 12th house is Pisces. It's a very revolutionary sign, and it's to do with our gnosis, okay? Not our knowledge like Aquarius, it's our gnosis. Our gnosis comes from within. Gnosis is knowledge from within, okay? Whether it's objectively verifiable upon the external world, I'm going to leave that for a different day and matter and conversation, because a lot of people who do have gnosis have psychosis and so on and so forth. Sorry, it's just the way I see it, or it's just the way it is, you know? A lot of people like to say that their gnosis is this, is that, but Uranus in there is really going to test what it is that you've learned for yourself. You know, lessons in life that some people take in and they don't really share with the world, or they might share with the world, but they've just been dealt those cards in life. Uranus is going to make you look at those cards that you've been dealt in life, okay? And psychologically, this is going to be the biggest uprooting and cleaning of your mental state and who you are. The very different person, these two will be very different people. Your first house and your 12th house, like within, they'll look and they'll behave very differently after 2033. And without, on the exterior, what they're doing in life and how they look physically, they're also going to be the very most different, these two. But that's probably enough for them. We're going to go into Leo Rising, the 11th house. The 11th house rules your friends, your circles, your social groups, anything like Aquarius based, because Aquarius, the 11th sign. My son, I was born early. So if someone's born between like 6 and 8 a.m., their son's probably in the 12th house. If they're born, you know, 10 and 12, between 10 and like 12-ish, the next 2 hours after that, boom, that's me. So my son is in the 11th house. And so this is new social circles and friends. Like I said, your vision for your future also changes. You see, Aquarians are like visionaries, and since the 11th sign is also the 11th house, it's about your vision, your what you want in life, why you're doing certain things. So very future-based thinking. Also, I don't know if I put it here, but yes, okay, so changes. So it's good for internet and tech changes in the world. So the world is going to go through a lot of changes in technology and communication, and the internet in general is going to be like reshaped in the next 7 years because of this transit. You'll see. Don't take my word for it. You'll see. This is a good sign. So if you are a Leo rising or Leo rising, whatever you want to call it, Leo, I speak too many languages. That's why I don't. But regardless, this is going to be a good time to, it's going to be good for you guys to keep up with the technology, keep up with the changes, and see exactly how things are going to pan out and then adapt to them. This is going to be very good. Also, don't be afraid of losing some friends. You're definitely going to lose some friends, Leo rising. Leo's your first house. You're definitely going to lose some friends, but you're going to gain some friends that are going to be with you on that revolutionary energy. So be very attentive, and Uranus might pull, because Uranus is very reactive. It's like, it might pull some people away from you. Okay, it might pull things out of your subconscious, Cancer rising, right? And for anything, it just, so if some friends do get pulled out of your life, maybe they happen to pass away, maybe they happen to do something very disrespectful for you, and you, cool, I'm just going to leave them. That's the better choice, right? That's the better choice. And this is going to be a time where it's going to test you in your friends and everything. You're really going to be tested. Okay, so before coming on here, we're going to go carry on the signs here. We have Virgo rising. Now this is me, and I can tell you guys exactly what to do if you're a Virgo rising. Okay, I can tell you what to do for any of them, but especially a Virgo rising, because I'm experiencing it. I'm like, dude, I know. Okay, so Virgo rising, this is your 10th house. Your 10th house sits at the top of your chart right there. This is your 10th house right here. Try to draw a 10 in there, but anyways, this is your 10th house right here. Okay, and this is your career. Opposite is your IC, which is your home. So anything not to do with your home, not to do with your family, all of that is going to change. Okay, so your career shocks, plenty of visibility, career pivots, changes, and public reinvention. People might see you differently from the public's perspective, from people's perspective. You might all of a sudden blow up and become really famous. You might also have so much like visibility. So many people from different places will see you in your career and value you for your position. Okay, now the 10th house is ruled by Capricorn. Okay, so it's already like it's already a very deep house. Okay, it's a very serious house, and Uranus in there, oh my gosh, it's going to change the way you think about your career. Maybe it might change your actual career, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think for many people it definitely will be the case, but at least for myself and others who are Virgo risings and this is moving for their 10th house, it's mainly your visibility. You might change your ethics in the same career that you're doing. You might change things like that, but nevertheless put in so much work when it comes to these next 7 years, Virgo rising, of your career and what it is that you want, because people like myself are going to absolutely blow up on the internet and have a lot of fame and recognition, but for what reason? For what reason are you attracting all of these internet fame and attention online? For what reason? Is it really something that's benefiting people, or is it not? So that's up to you to decide. Next, we have Libra rising. This is your 9th house. Okay, your 9th house is like Sagittatius, your 9th sign. Religions, belief, philosophies, all of that might change. So your belief systems might change. Okay, cool. Yeah, there you go. May change belief system or religion. Travel will be good, and new worldview / outgrowing old truths. So let's start with that. Your religion and your belief system. You might be a Muslim, you might change to a Christian, you might be a Christian, you might change to a Muslim, then to a Buddhist, and then to something else. These next 7 years, be open, okay? Whatever your dharma is, whatever your karma is, that's up to you, okay? But be open to change, because if you're someone that's very fixed, if you're a very Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, or Scorpio kind of person, if you have a lot of placements in there, and you happen to be a Libra rising, this might be uncomfortable. Uranus and life in general is going to show you, but through Uranus, to change. Actually, there's a different way of viewing things. Maybe you didn't know this about this belief system that really coincides with you. It really brings out the values that you kind of want to embody and whatnot. So just be open to that. Travel. Okay, so like I said, Gemini, short distance travel. Sagittarius, long distance travel. Uranus in Sagittarius in the ninth house. If you're a Libra rising, I'll be honest. I said travel will be good, but I don't know if it will be good. That completely depends upon you as a person. I would look to my planets in Sagittarius to see in my natal chart to see what's going on, and obviously in the grander world what's going on. But if you travel, you're gonna experience more of that Uranian energy, more breakthroughs, more like shocks, more like, and that comes with some bad sort of things sometimes. Uranus, you know, a lot of the times you can be in a country, Uranus transits into a different sign or a different, and all of a sudden there's an earthquake because on the astrocartography it shows that Uranus is past a certain line now. It could bring about things like that, not only physical earthquakes, but earthquakes inside of us, like, oh, breakdowns. And that could happen as a result of traveling. So I'm not saying traveling is all good and cushy this year, or these next 7 years, pretty much. Or actually, no, these next like 9 years. It's a bit interesting. I would suggest traveling to places where you already been sometimes, but regardless of that, Uranus is going to bring you so many insights and innovation through travel. Maybe it's through a long distance travel that you find out things that you never knew you needed to know. So pay attention to travel and your traveling opportunities, and be a bit more careful and cautious up until 2033 with travel. So new worldview or outgrowing old truth. So Sagittarius likes to view the world, and its connection with viewing the world is based on its philosophy, its religion, and its theology. Okay, so you might end up viewing the world completely different. You might outgrow your old beliefs, and you might even be like, okay, cool, I'm this right now, and by 2033 you look back and you're like, I might be the same person, but the way I see things, the way I react and respond to things are completely different. And that's exactly what that's gonna bring about, okay? So, Scorpio Rising, 8th house. Big transformation in intimacy, sex, love making, mysticism, medicine, psychological breakthroughs, and shared finances. So all of a sudden you might get some shared finances from somebody in your family that's passed away, something like that. The 8th house, just like the 8th sign, Scorpio, is to do with death. So if you are a Scorpio rising, Uranus is going to be entering your 8th house and changing all of this. So if you are someone who is fixed in a certain way, or you only know a certain way of making love to someone, having sex with a woman, having sex with a man, that's going to change. You're going to explore your sexuality a bit more. Opportunities for it will come, at least. Like I said, this is all opportunities, right? You have to be open to this information, and then when it comes to you, okay, cool, let me take that. And that's where it is. So go take that intimacy class, go start doing your Kegels, work out your pelvic floor, do what you need to do, but transform in your intimacy. Make love differently, make love from the heart, not just from the mind, not just from the heart, okay? And Uranus is also going to change the way you react to occultism, magic, witchcraft, mysticism. All of those things are going to be changed by Uranus going into your 8th house. And also medicine, because Scorpio and basically the 8th house does also kind of deal with medicine, okay? And that's what we want to be aware of, is like, okay, so medicine is going to be a key factor in here, okay? And some of you might go through medical procedures where you will use very Uranian-like technology, AI and stuff. I can see a lot of medicine and AI coming up soon with some of these transits, but especially this one. Psychological breakthroughs and shared finances. So I talked about the shared finances. Yes, be open to receiving money, wherever money even come from at that point. But mainly it's psychological breakthroughs. Okay, so a lot of people who have been suffering with issues mentally, and you are a Scorpio rising, be open to the opportunities that may or will come so that you can heal and learn from them. That's what I'm going to say. Sagittarius rising, 7th house. Okay, interesting. The 7th house is like the 7th sign, so Libra, and it's to do with your relationships, your one-to-one relationships. Now, yes, there is an emphasis on the one-to-one relationships in actual, like, you know, man, woman, or whatever it is, like your lovey-dovey sexual partner, married or boyfriend, girlfriend, that kind of relationship, but also one-to-ones in your works and your life in general, okay? So you have big relationship awakenings, unconventional partnerships, beginnings and endings all over, and downloads from one-to-one relationships. Now, you guys probably, Sagittarius rising, listen, beginnings and endings all over, right? So I'm not going to be able to hold a partner down. No, that doesn't mean that. But it does mean that you are more prone to now than in any other era, well, depending on your natal chart and everything, but especially now, then any other error, just like entering new relationships, exiting, trying out this one, trying that one out. And this could be a bit of a headache. Regardless, if you are in a relationship, however, then this will be challenging both of you, but especially you, unless they're also a Sagittarius rising, which would be kind of interesting, to look at new ways of having and fostering this relationship in your life. Look at new ways of being like, okay, cool, how is this going to benefit me? How can we move forward in this relationship with my boyfriend, with my girlfriend, with my wife, with my husband, with my kids? You know what I'm saying? The one-to-one is really going to be activated, okay, over here. And yes. A lot of you will, Sagittarius rising, yes, you'll go through breakups. Yes, you'll go through revolutions. You know when you're going to break up with someone. You know when something isn't going to I know. Okay, motherfucker, I know. And it's not because I'm a Cancer, I'm psychic or sensitive. I've developed some abilities, but not to the point where I'm like, I know. But there's some things, you know, especially women, you know when something needs a revolution. Been putting a lot of stuff, stuffing a lot of stuff in a bag, just like, oh, it's rubbish. One day that bag's gonna get full and blow up. Okay? As we say in Portuguese, the bag broke up. The bag broke up. So don't be afraid of going through breakups. Don't be afraid of trying new relationships, going out, going on many dates and doing all of that. This is the time for it, okay? And also, you're actually going to get a lot of downloads because Uranus is going to be providing information. You know, sometimes God speaks to you through different people. God will speak to you through the people that you end up on dates with, that you end up in relationships with. And it's going to be very, very good. So when this, in 2023, when that exits on your one-to-one relationships, you're going to be so much more wiser. So much more wiser. Okay, so Capricorn Rising. This is your sixth house. Your sixth house rules Virgo rules the sixth house, I mean, and that's what is going to be a big impact. It's going to show very, very clearly. So your change in work or schedule and your health, learn how to become more productive. Opportunities to be of service to others will come. Okay, cool. Now, Virgo is the sign. Let me just talk from bottom to top over here in this paragraph. Now, Virgo is a sign of service, okay? You see people out there picking up litter in these like vests and stuff, and they're just like working for who? It might be a company, but that's being of service, right? People who are of service means that they volunteer. So a lot of volunteering. Personally, I would get into volunteering. I think everybody should do a bit of charity work or shop at charities or work at charity or something where they're just giving and they're not really getting back, okay? Because the universe will give you something in another way. That's not the aim of it. That's not the point of it. But the universe will, as a result. So look to be of service and put yourself in charitable positions. That's when you get downloads. Okay, that's when you get information coming in straight from Uranus. What else? Learn how to become more productive. So Virgo deals much with like your day-to-day life, right? If someone has an Aries in their sixth house, okay, their day-to-day life is like, they need a structured routine, those people. Now, if that does happen to be you or not, I don't know. But regardless, when it is your Capricorn rising and Uranus is your sixth house, okay, now you're going to want to learn how to, okay, well, I wake up, what do I do? Plan your days, your schedules, and be open to the fact that your schedule and your day-to-day might change completely. You might have to adopt new health diets or new health methods, I mean. And so you wake up, you start doing your qigong and stuff. You start tapping the doors of life and things like that, like I've been doing for the past like couple months as well. Things are going to change in your day-to-day and make your schedule more productive and leave space in your schedule. Almost like for nothing, but it's not for nothing. It's for Uranus. Uranus is like a revolutionary. It's a breakthrough. It's a shock. So be open in your day-to-day, especially with your work, how things are going to happen. Now, change in work, schedule, and health. We talked a bit about the schedule. Now let's go into the health. Virgo is also the sign of the health. It rules your lower gut, okay? It's very much so to do with your health, but also what we want to pay attention to is our work, our service. Are we happy with what we're working in life? Are we happy putting our energy into a certain company that's providing money for another company that's involved in some wars or anything? I don't know. There's a lot going on at the moment and people going crazy, man. So your health is something I would watch out for. More so, not your health in terms of physically, like, oh, bus crash or car crash. No, not really that. It's more so the health in the conscious way, like what am I eating? What am I putting in my body, right? And my diet, my nutrition, my yoga, my workout, my something like that. That's more so the kind of health we're referring to. We're not referring to the abruptive health conditions and issues that might fly in. That's more so that, okay? Capricorn, now we go to Aquarius. Okay, let me move over here. So Aquarius Rising, this is for your 5th house. Uranus is entering. Okay, so this is actually a pretty intensely good, very intense, but very good. Okay, so the 5th house, like the 5th sign, Leo, whatever you want to call it. Your creativity, children. It's also a little bit ruled with the father. Capricorn is basically like the father. Saturn is like the father in terms of like family and whatnot. But Leo, is also a kind of a father figure. It's the lion, right? And it's a fixed sign. So Uranus being in there, it might cause you guys some, not issues, but because it's a fixed sign and that house has like fixed energy, you have to be more open than a lot of people to change the way your creative and artistic expression is coming out. So this is amazing creative boost, artistic breakthroughs, unexpected romance, and new ways of expressing thyself. So when I say unexpected romance, I mean, yeah, you fellas, you ladies and gents over here are gonna definitely experience some one night stand type stuff or like short term stuff. Your moon, not your Venus, but your moon is more so like your marital life. Your Venus could more so relate to, yeah, your marital life and your sexual stuff, but also your one night stands and stuff. So this might be more so like romances you find yourself in, new romances, like sudden, whoa, I'm feeling deeply for this person, or I'm super like physically attracted to this person. Let's get it on. That's the kind of thing that's coming through here. But also, mainly what I would focus on is your creative boost and your artistic breakthroughs. When Uranus goes in your 5th house, that's a very good sign. It means that you are now open to receiving so many breakthroughs in the art that you do, whether you draw, whether you make content online, anything artistic, period, anything creative, period, is now going to be with that Uranian energy. You're going to have that Uranian energy with you. So use that, but don't abuse it. And a new way of expressing thyself. Okay, so Leos, if you know any, you probably do. You definitely do. They like to express themselves. They like to have their good, strong hair. They like to have their good image. But mainly, they really like to express themselves and get their point across, okay? Now, that is going to be changing. And you might express yourself differently from now on. And you also might find that how you've been expressing yourself isn't enough. You need to do more. So, the last one, we have Pisces Rising. Now, this is going to go in your 4th house. Your 4th house, just as the 4th sign, is all to do with Cancer, the land, the mother, even the father. Some people say the 4th house, you can read things from the father. It's more so the 10th house in Capricorn, but fair enough. This is going to bring about changes in how we, in how we live or where we live. It could be how we live or where we live, right? Could be in terms of hygiene, it could be in terms, or actually like relocation. So relocation, changes in mother/father and in family role and emotional changes. Okay, so changes in relocation. Yes, so you Pisces risings, definitely 100%. I can see a lot of you guys changing houses, changing locations from where you live in, maybe from where you work or where you spend a lot of time in as well. Be conscious that we also live in our workspaces and things. So that could also affect places that you just simply spend a lot of time in. You might find that you can't go to them places anymore. You can't do certain things. That's game over. Now, we have the mother and the father. So Uranus going in there, it might, if you guys don't know your mothers and your fathers, right, and all of a sudden you're in your 20s and your 30s, that motherfucker might come in right now with Uranus going in to your 4th house. It might be like, hey, I'm alive actually. I'm your mother or I'm your father. And that shit happens. That shit definitely happens. Also, if that's not the case, that's obviously a very niche case, but it's just an example. You might end up losing a mother or a father. One of your parents might be dying, and that's all right. That's life. You got to let them go. You can't hold them here and be greedy. We all got to go through some sorrow, some shit where you're formed. And this is what it's about. It's that the emotional changes as well. So you might find changes in the relationship between you and your mother or you and your father. They might move houses or something, or you might move far away from them, and that then in turn like affects obviously how you relate to them. Or it might not be to do with death, or it might not be to, you know, it might not be to do with your parent coming in your life. It might simply mean that your mother and or your father, mainly the mother we're looking at here because this is the 4th house in Cancer, you might notice changes in a relationship with her, okay? In whichever way, whether it's good, bad, you're moving far from them, you're moving close to them, it doesn't matter. Changes nevertheless. And also emotional changes. Now, emotional changes, but also you're gonna have a period to come out of after 2020, after 2033 to be like, actually, I've grown so much emotionally and I've been growing so much emotionally for the past couple of years, because when Uranus is in your 4th house, Uranus likes to change things. bring in some shock, electrifies things, which is that Aquarius energy, literally the sign of like electric shocks. But anyways, be open emotionally, Pisces rising, to new concepts and ideas and ways of liberty. Okay, ways of being thyself, like I said over here, but being thyself emotionally. Okay, you might you might find things that test you so much emotionally in the next couple years, but that's not a bad thing. Uranus in your fourth house is going to ask you to, it's going to test your emotions. It's going to test how strong your emotions are. It's going to test how much you can show them. And at the end, you're going to have to make a conclusion based on who you are emotionally at the end of 2033. So with that being said, I've now covered the 12 rising signs, a bit of what Uranus in Taurus was and what it's going to be like in Gemini, and a little bit of this. And notice how it's the seventh, and then 5 and 2, 7 again. It's a very mercurial energy that the numbers are also showing us. I didn't do a lot of numerology for this because I find it more astrologically accurate to look at something astrologically when it's actually changing upstairs. But nevertheless, you can see it's a 7, it's a 7, and that's a 7. So the message here, guys, is think.